शान्तार्थविभासकाय गुरवे शान्ताय सन्न्यासिने नानावादी नगेन्द्रसङ्घपवये योगीन्द्रवन्द्याय च मोहध्वान्तदिवाकराय भगवत्पादाभिधाम् बिभ्रते तस्मै भाष्यकृते नमोऽस्तु सततम् पूर्णाय बोधात्मने। तदेवं प्राक्तनेन ग्रन्थेन संसारदोष निरूपणात् अधिकारी विशेषणानि उक्तानि. So the book so far, Bhagavad Gita so far, through the first chapter and up to the 6th verse, has conveyed one thing very prominently, and that is samsara dosha, the defect of relative life, samsara dosha. Along with it, it also has spelled out an important aspect, and that is adhikari visheshana, the necessary qualifications of a qualified seeker, the one in whom this knowledge can be fructified. Over here is called as adhikari. Okay. Adhikar, in common parlance in Indian languages, people have used the word adhikar to mean rights. Over here it is not rights. Adhikar means the qualifications. For what? So the one in whom this knowledge can be fructified, can get fructified, is called as adhikari. So adhikari generally will have these three things everywhere, and that is the person should be desirous. He should be desirous of the fruit of that, of the consequence of the result. Okay. Unless and until one is desirous, arthi, so he should seek what? The result. What is the result of this knowledge? Destruction of ignorance. And with that destruction of ignorance means moksha. So what is he seeking over here? He is seeking knowledge, but that means that knowledge means over here destruction of ignorance. And destruction of ignorance, in other words, is liberation, because the bondage is of ignorance. Not only that the bondage is due to ignorance, but ignorance itself is also a bondage. And therefore, where the ignorance gets destroyed, it is avidya, it is moksha. It is called as moksha. Okay. So, arthi, the first thing for adhikari, just not in Vedanta, but anywhere, wherever you're going to use the word adhikari, that the person is qualified, we will have these three things implied over there. One is that the person should be desirous of its result. The next thing is that the person should have the capacity to employ those means. Okay. I may have a desire for a big car, but do you have the necessary capacity to buy a car? So adhikar has the desire, one more thing, and that is the capacity. He should be samartha, arthi samartha. And then the third thing that goes is shastrena avyuparidastaha, that he should not be prohibited by the shastra. When it comes to the shastriya karmas, etc., he should not be prohibited by the shastra. So if somebody is told that such and such a person should do such and such a karma, and he will get this particular result. Now, for whom has it been told? For that particular person. Now, anybody gets up and says that I will do it because no, you will have another set of karma in another way to get the same result. But the person to whom it has been told is the adhikari. Okay. So the shastrena avyuparidastaha. With these three things, a person is called as adhikari. Comes the question as who is a person who is the adhikari of Vedanta? Who is the adhikari for this knowledge that Sri Krishna Bhagavan is imparting over here? So last time we have already seen that there are these fourfold qualifications which are necessary: Viveka, Vairagya, Shatsampatti, and Mumukshutva. These are the four things which are necessary. Now we have to see that according to the commentators, that the book so far has been successful even in showing, suggesting, indicating the necessary qualifications in Arjuna. And therefore, when we are going to look at Arjuna as a character over here from the first chapter up to the second chapter's 6th verse, we should also be able to spot those necessary qualifications. What are those and how are they seen in Arjuna? And that means that anybody in whom this knowledge should get fructified will have to have these qualities. Okay. If anywhere a person in introspection is able to see that I lack these, then he should strive to develop these qualities. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Tiksha, Shraddha, Samadhan, Viveka, Vairagya, Mumukshutva. These are the things that a person should strive to develop in his life. Now you understand what is the implication of these words, Shama and Dama. We have discussed this. Let us see how these commentators are able to show us these qualities as are present in Arjuna. How? So, Tatra, Nacha Shreyo Pashyami Hatva Svajanamahave. Iti atra rane hatasya paribrat samana yogakshematva uktehe. Now those people who are going to die in the battle, it is said that those who die defending the dharma will naturally, so now that they have their worldly existence has finished, but now due to their valor, courage, and self-sacrifice, these are the people who will attain Swargalok. They will go to Swarga. Let them go. So it is fine for them. But Arjuna's argument is that these are the people who may get Swarga, but I do not see that by fighting this battle, because and then by winning the battle also, that it will bring me any shreya. So those who may die, they will go. They will, but I do not see any shreya coming to me. Now comes the question, what is the meaning of this word shreya? Because naturally, if you are going to fight the battle, win the battle, then that it means there is victory, there is wealth, there is popularity, there is power, people worshipping you, all these things will happen. But in Arjuna's discrimination, Arjuna says that it will not bring me any shreya. Therefore, now we are at a question as what exactly is the meaning of the word shreya. So he says this word shreya is not something which Arjuna has brought out of his hat. The word shreya is found in the Upanishads itself. So Arjuna is not somebody who has never ever heard Upanishads. Arjuna is not someone who has not revered, worshipped, or listened to the discourses of the great sages. He has. And therefore Arjuna is familiar with that Vedic vocabulary. Arjuna knows the word Shreya, and he knows in what meaning the word has been used by the Upanishads. Shreya. So we say this word Shreya means mo Shreya ha ityadi shruti siddham Shreya mokshakhyam. It is that Shreya means the moksha. So what has Arjuna said? Nacha Shreyo nupashyami. I do not see that this will bring liberation, it will bring any moksha. So even if one has won any great battles, forget small little conflicts and winning an argument. Even a battle like Mahabharata, in which one would be what they call crowned as the emperor, even that also does not bring any shreya. So Arjuna sees that this is not the cause of liberation. So since I do not see any liberation, any shreya in it, I do not want to fight. So that means that Arjuna sees that I want shreya, and all these things will definitely not bring what I desire. So what is Arjuna desiring now? Shreya. What is the meaning of Shreya? Moksha. So that's, we find that there is the first thing about Arjuna is that moksham. So what is he seeking? Moksha. He is desirous of moksha. Arthacha. So also, though Arjuna does not say this, that I have Shama, Dama, Uparati, he does not go about praising himself. But we are able to conclude, so na shabdataha, arthataha, we are able to see that Arjuna has these qualities. And this is what Gita has shown. Arthacha tad iha, arthacha tad itara ashreyaha, iti nityanitya vastu viveko darshitaha. So now what is the flip side of it? That whatever else this victory, etc. will bring is ashreya. It is not moksha rupaha. It is not moksha rupaha. And therefore I do not want it. I do not want anything that is not moksha rupa. What is the meaning? I want moksha. So something Arjuna has this nitya viveka. So nitya vastu viveka darshitaha. So here we find that Arjuna has got this discrimination. This discrimination is of what is nitya, what is anitya, what is permanent, and what is transient, what is temporary, what is just there for time being, like a dream. Dream is there for a very little time, and it flies away no sooner the dream finishes. I mean, in fact, it doesn't stay linger even for a moment more than the dream. Is there any dream object? So it comes and it goes. So dream has a quality of coming and going. So also things over here. They are also having the same. A dream may last for 3 minutes. Something may last for 3 years, 30 years, or 300 years. What does it matter? Has got the same. It comes and it goes. So that is Nitya and Anitya. And even those 300 years or 300 lives or 3 million lives also will come and go like it. Just imagine, just think that if you are 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, how quickly the life has really gone. You may remember even your days from the school when you didn't want to go to the school and your mother dragged you to the school, whacking you, nicely to the school. Go and sit there. And then now you remember 40 years have gone. And like a dream, like, just a wink of an eye, it has gone. Arthat, okay. Na kangshe vijayam Krishna. So also Arjuna says, na kangshe vijayam. Hey Krishna, I do not desire this vijaya, etc. By this, so now, nacha shreyonu pashyami, this particular verse shows that Arjuna has nitya nitya viveka. Now, so also we have to discover, does Arjuna have vairagya or not? Because vairagya is a necessary qualification. Does Arjuna have this vairagya or not, this maturity or not? Because even when you know that something is just temporary, yet a person may be so infatuated with it that he will fall for it. And not only that he will fall for it, he will demand that what is transient, temporary, I want to make it permanent. He will demand. And in that whole process, he will just generate misery for himself. And there is that very popular story. As children, you also people must have read it, heard it sometime. There was this one whimsical princess. Generally, all this princes and aristocrats and all these kings and queens, they were whimsical. So there was this girl, since she is the daughter of that king, too pampered. Now she is whimsical. She now had strange demands. And because she is a princess, now those demands also had to be met. One day she saw in the garden some dewdrops and droplets from the fountain flying around. They looked very beautiful. Then she had this whim that I want to make a necklace out of those dewdrops only. And give me those dewdrops, but the necklace of dewdrops. And he who is not able to make it, I will send him to jail. Princess, sending to jail, what big deal? So the goldsmiths were summoned from that kingdom. And so all the goldsmiths were rotting in the jail. Because how can you make one necklace out of the dewdrops? So then some Mahatma, he came, some sadhu, he came to that kingdom. So these people went with her, our husbands are sitting, rotting there in the jail, please take them out. And okay. So this Mahatma then went to the king and he said, where is that girl of yours. So this girl came, arrogant, that girl. He said that I will give you that necklace. Two conditions have to be fulfilled. If you fulfill my two conditions, I will give you the necklace. What are the conditions? Is that first condition? Release all those people that you have, dumped in the jail. So all the release. What is your second condition? He said that I will make that necklace as this girl wants. My condition is that she should only go and bring those droplets and give. She only should bring it and give. Now you see, people know that something is transient, something is temporary, something is apparent, and yet there is a whole demand, insistence on wanting to make it permanent and real. Such a person is not the adhikari of Vedanta. Knowing what is nitya, knowing what is anitya, then there is no infatuation for that what is anitya. Also should be there. What is it? Na kangshe vijayam Krishna iti atra ahika phala viragaha. So when Arjuna says, hey Krishna, I do not desire this kingdom and wealth and all these things, that means whatever are the benefits and whatever are the phalas of this very world, I do not want. I have no infatuation. I do not have this overpowering longing for it. No longing for it. Iti aihika phala viragaha, for any object of this world. So also there are these terrorists who do not want anything of this world. They in fact want to go to the heaven as soon as they can. So they can blow themselves up in a crowded market. Ahika phala viraga is there. But what is there? That they have paraloka phala viraga is not there. Amushmika phala viraga is not there. They desire pleasures and nymphs and wine and all those things from the heaven of the other world. Okay, we are not in an argument whether there is other world or not. Even if it is, we are going to say we don't want it. Arjuna says, Api trailokya rajyasya heto kinnu mahi krite. Oh. Api trailokya rajyasya, even if I was to be given unrivaled kingship of the three worlds, I do not want it. Forget just this world or this Hastinapura. I do not want it. Iti paralaukika phalaviraga. So we see in Arjuna that there is ahika phalaviraga, there is paralaukika phalaviraga. Paralaukika, loka means world. Paralaukika means the other world. No desire for fruits of the other world too. Paralaukika phalaviraga. Then there is one more thing, that an appreciation of the fact that the existence of the body and existence of the self is not synonymous. The self is independent of the of the body, of this physical body. So how Narake niyatam vasaha iti atra sthula dehatirikta atma kinno rajyena next. Narake niyatam vasaha iti atra sthula dehatirikta atma. So also Arjuna has expressed that if at all there is anything that adharma takes place, a person does any wrong action, then that wrong action would mean what? Naraka. Naraka means it is not the word we may use as hell, but Naraka is different from hell, because hell means somewhere a person is put, made to stay because he refused to believe in God. But Naraka is not a place where the person is sent because he refuses to believe in God, because he resorted to the wrong actions. And those wrong actions as a result have brought him to that miserable existence. Now let us understand this over here a little bit. Okay, say suppose a person sets an arson in which to a cowshed, and these helpless cows then they are burnt to death, and there are 10 of them. Now, or people, whatever, if you don't want to use cows, then people may not understand. Because let us say he sets an arson to a house in which there are 10 people and they all have been burned to death. Now, this person has caused the death of 10 people. Your local judicial system may sentence him to death, but that death for him is the pain or that fear or whatever that is only equivalent to one person's death. So justice has not been met. He has brought how many deaths? 10, but he has died only one. So it looks just by escaping death, even by meeting death, he has escaped the 9 more murders, sentenced for 9 more murders. We say this will be met. Justice will be given, because now that person he goes to Narak, where just as you have this particular physical body, Yatana Deha, there is another something called as the body meant only to experience pain. He will get. Over there, he will be cast into fire. He will die. He will have similar pain up to the point of death 10 times. And then he will be born again. Now you change your ways. Therefore, there is Naraka. Okay. In that Naraka, then he says that Naraka means that even after this physical body perishes, the person may go to that Naraka, etc., or even to Swarga, which means that the self continues to exist even after the physical body perishes. So that means that the existence of the self as other than independent of the physical body is also appreciated. I am something more than the physical body. I may become available to you in this physical body, but I am more than this physical body. Okay. So Narake, so by Arjuna saying that, we come to see that this is what Arjuna has already understood. Furthermore, he says, Kinno Rajyena Govindam iti Vyakhyata Vartmana Shamaha. Now, even Arjuna says, what will I do with all this, gaining this kingdom, etc.? Now, if you understand the psychology behind it, behind what? Behind that statement. What statement? What will I do with all this wealth, kingdom, power, etc.? What is the psychology saying? What exactly does it mean? It means that will it give me peace of mind? Will it give me peace of mind? No. And therefore, Shamaha, even that peace of mind that is also there, Arjuna does not want it. Anything that does not give what is peace of mind, no. Vyakhyatavartmana Shamaha. Kim bhogaihi iti tamaha. So also Arjuna in the same breath has said, what will I do with these enjoyments, pleasures? What will I? That means damaha. Okay, that means pacification of the indriyas. Now that indriyas, his senses are not demanding, give us more, give us more. I do not want it. So dama is seen. Yadyapyetena pashyanti iti atra nirlobhata. He says that these Kauravas are not able to understand that, they want wealth and all these things, pleasures, wealth, etc. But I do not want it. That shows lack of avarice, greed, nirlobhata. What does it show? Lack of avarice, greed. Tanme kshemataram bhaved iti titiksha. He is ready to endure even that, the pains and pangs of hunger, etc., subsist only on collection of alms. And I do not mind even if these people come and hack me down to death. That will be better for me than raising my arms against any one of them. So he is ready to endure the pain. That means that titiksha is there, endurance, fortitude is there. Okay. Iti prathamadhyayarthaha sasannyasa sadhana suchanam. Okay. So now, through all this discussion, we understand these are the necessary qualities which should be there in the seeker, and Arjuna is endowed with it. Then what happens? Asminshtaadhyaye shreyo bhoktum vaikshamapi iti yatra shacharyo balakshita sannyasa pratipaditaha. So also sannyasa is seen. Then what is that? Sannyasa pratipaditaha. Now we are at a point that a person having given up everything because he does not want any putra, vitta or loka, and all that he wants is moksha. When putra, vitta, loka is not desired, what is not desired? Putra, vitta and loka. What does that mean? Putra means progeny. I do not want any progeny or anything. Then with the wealth or security, and then finally low. Any approval from the world also, that people should call me good, or I should go and have some pleasures in heaven, etc. All such things are not desired. When a person is able to see that these are not at all your motivating factors in life, wealth, pleasures, name, fame, these are not the things which motivate you or are the reasons for you to strive. Then what is it that you want? Is I want liberation. If liberation is wanted, that means now putra vitta loka. How is that attained? Through appropriate actions. Can you gain any putra vitta loka without the right actions? No. So action, karma, which is the cause, which is the sadhanam, which is the means for putra vitta loka, is also given up. Sasadhanam, the phala is given up, renounced. So there is renunciation. Now, once when there is this form of renunciation, what is the next thing? That you want moksha. Moksha is gained through knowledge. And for that knowledge, therefore, go to the teacher. What is it that the teacher is approached for? For the knowledge. Those who think that we are going to the teacher so that the teacher can give me some blessing and I will have more money, and then you are going for some fringe benefits, Like there is some Gita discourse happening in the town. Then they have hired an AC hall. So this fellow who does not understand also goes and sits. Why? Because he says it's very hot outside. Sitting here for 1 hour is nice. So I have come. So you have come over there for what? For a fringe benefit. The main principal benefit is that you are sitting in a very comfortable place where if you could have kept yourself alert and heard that Gita discourse, you would have gained something more. But then this fellow now is not nice. Fringe benefit. I remember in this context, there was Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj gives one example. He says, there are the milk of a cow is a healing nectar. Okay, they say a proper cow which goes for grazing in the forest and pastures and comes. And this milk of the cow is a proper, thing even for those mothers who cannot lactate for their babies. It can become like a mother's milk. So it is called as a nectar. So amritam. So this milk in the cow's udder is there. There are these ticks, those ticks which suck the blood. They try to find out some soft skin on the body of the animal and goes and sits on the udder, but does not take the milk and takes the blood. Blood in Sanskrit is called Shonita, also, which means, or Ashuddham. The blood is called as something that is impure. Huh? That's why even when you get a cut, you do not put it everywhere, anywhere. It is impure. So you immediately wash it. Okay. It is an impurity, and we know that, touching anybody's blood, that body fluid, if you also, if you have an open wound, it means you are inviting some sort of problem. It is called impure. So this tick is drinking that what is impure, leaving that what is nectarine, that what is. So also over here, in this case, all this is given up, renounced, and what is sought? Only moksha. Therefore, going to the teacher for anything else, because the teacher is cracking nice jokes, telling stories, a very nice person. Hey, going to the teacher for what? Is only for knowledge. So now he comes to the teacher for knowledge. Okay. Guru Upasadanam idanim pratipadyate. Up to this point, the the process of the adhikari visheshanas have been spelled out. Now, from the shloka verse number 7, what we are going to witness is an important part which is called as Guru Pasadan. What is it called, Mr. Sharma? What is it called? It is called as Guru Pasadan. It means approaching the teacher. Guru Pasadanam idanim pratipadyate. Now this is what we are going to see. Why? Samadhigata samsara doshajatasya atitaram nirvinnasya vividha vidivat gurum upasannasyeva vidyagrahane adhikarat. Because the one who has now understood what are the defects of this worldly life, then that person is also virakta, atitaram nirvinnasya. Okay, he is mature, well matured. That vairagyam is stable, because in us vairagyam comes, but it comes like, a change of mood. Nothing else. It is stable. Atitaram nirvinnasya vidhivat. Then going to the teacher in the prescribed manner. Going to the teacher, approaching a teacher in the prescribed manner. Vidhivat kurum upasannasya vidya grahane adhikaraha. So all these things, these qualities should be present, and then the person should approach the teacher in the prescribed manner. Why? Because that gives him the qualification for knowledge. Upasannasyaiva vidya grahane adhikaraha. And hence now we are on verse number 7, in which we are going to see this principle of Guru Pasadanam. Okay, now you see, though the whole Gita and thing is framed on the battlefield, so it is not only about Arjuna and Shri Krishna. It is now we are able to, from this specific situation, we are able to understand the general principles. We are able to understand the general principles. Let us go there. Verse number 7. Okay. And just pray that I am able to, chant it properly. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha. Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha. Prachami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. Prachami tvam dharma sammudha cheta. यत् श्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे यत् श्रेयस्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधि मां त्वां प्रपन्नम् कार्पण्य दोष उपहत स्वभावः पृच्छामि अहम पृच्छामि को I am asking aham pritchami I am asking so obviously a question is being put aham pritchami who is this aham if there are two adjectives to tell who this I of the questioner is one karpanya doshopahata swabhava the one whose original nature is clouded by this temporary feeling of helplessness, etc. Karpanya dosh, kripanata, miserliness, kripanata, karpanya dosha. So this karpanya dosha has covered my original nature. So the person may be originally by swabhava, he can be magnanimous, generous, but something temporarily has taken over and the person loses, seems to be getting clouded, his nature seems to be getting upahata, overpowered, subdued by this stinginess, which is not his real nature. Okay, real nature is in swabhava. Another thing about Arjuna, he says, so which means that his true nature swabhava, which is presently being overpowered by this delusion, etc., by this sorrow, and therefore he cannot be in his own what do they call it? Huh? What do they say? In his own huh? His
Element.
When somebody probably understood what I wanted. In his own element. Thank you. Karpanya dosha upahata swabhavaha. The second thing is dharma sammudha chetaha aham. Who am I? I am someone who is confused about what is right and what is wrong. Dharma and what is right in the sense, what is it that should be done and what is it that should be avoided. Dharma sammudha cheta. So I am confused. I am overpowered with something that I am not comfortable with. Such a person that I am asking Tvam. What am I asking you for? Yat shreyaha syat. That by which I will attain shreya. Yat shreyaha syat. Nishchitam bruhi tanme. Now you speak of that which will bring me nishreyasa, the highest good, and it will bring that highest good most certainly, definitely. Nishchitam bruhi. Don't leave me in doubt. Nishchitam bruhi tanme, please. Why? Tanme bruhi. Yat shreyaha syat. Hai, matlab yena shreya syat tanme bruhi. Kyun? Why should I be telling you that? Shishyaha aham te, because I am your disciple at this moment. I am your disciple, and therefore Shadimam, instruct me, impart me this knowledge. Tvam prapannam, I who has surrendered to you, I who has taken refuge in you. Tvam prapannam, tvam prapannam aham, tvam prapannam mam shadi. Aham shishyaha tvam prapannam mam tvam prapannam mam shadi. Like the one I am who has taken refuge in you, instruct me. Okay? Because I am your disciple. Aapka shishya ho. Vidhivat gurupasattim api tat sankata vyajena eva darshayati. Now, the very purpose of this shloka or this verse to be there in this text is by the what do they call vyaj, means under the pretext of what, of a very conflicting situation for Arjuna. It is a conflicting situation for this Arjuna. Through this situation, this principle of taking refuge in a teacher and then seeking the knowledge, this principle is brought out. Okay, so Sankata Vyajena Vidhivat Gurupasattim Darshayati. Sankata Vyajena. Sankata means a very formidable situation for Arjuna. Through that situation, Gurupasatti is shown. Who is called as Kripana? Because Karpanyam is a quality which will be there in a person who is a Kripana. So the question is now, who is called as a Kripana? A miser. What is the miser's nature? That he will keep on saving the money. And he will not use it even for even when the money is where the money is required to be used. A spendthrift person is someone who squanders away the money. A spendthrift person squanders away the wealth. He does not use the money judiciously, discriminatingly. But a miser is a person who does not even want to use the money where it needs to be used. Correct? And if the money cannot be used, what is the point of having the money? This person just keeps the money, thinking that it will become useful someday, sometime. And when the time comes for that money to be used, he still does not use it. Such a person is a miser. And ultimately, what happens to that money? It goes to someone on whom he did not even want to spend the money when he was living. So ultimately, he cannot use it, and therefore he becomes, wanting to keep the money, keep the money, keep the money. he fools himself, he deceives himself. So Kripana, in a way, is a self-deceptive person. It does not, the word does not mean self-deceptive. Kripana means a miser. But if you understand what a miser does, then we will understand. You are earning the money for your wife and children and for their well-being. Now you keep your children, wife, everybody also half fed. Thinking that it will become useful sometime. What is the point of that money then? That you are not even looking after your children and wife and things like that properly. What is the use of that? So therefore that, and not, he does not even spend on himself, the miser. A selfish person may not spend money, etc., for his wife and his children, but a miser even does not spend on himself. So this is how a miser is. So also in life, we are endowed with body, mind, and intellect. What is the use of it if we cannot use this body, mind, intellect for attaining moksha? Because the true utility of this human body, mind, and intellect would be in freeing yourself totally from all misery. A buffalo cannot understand this. A sparrow cannot understand this. And if this sparrow buffalo does not come and listen to Vedanta, it is understandable. But you are a human being who can understand, and you refuse to understand that now, then you are not using this body mind equipment for what it should be used. Then what are you using it for? Putra vitta loka. Such a person is karpanya. Kripana. That is the karpanya. Okay. Such a person is a kripana. And that's why the Upanishad says that he who does not, he who dies without knowing this self is a kripana. Is a kripana. He didn't use it for where it actually had to be used, best use of it. Sparingly. I will listen to Vedanta maybe once in a week. Enough. Finished. And the rest of the time, putra vitta loka, putra vitta loka. That is what happens. So now, Arjuna says, Karpanya doshopahata svabhavaha. My original nature is getting covered with this Karpanya dosha. A defect of this Kripanata is taking over. Yaha swalpamapi vittakshatim nakshamate sa kripanaha iti loke prasiddhaha. So in Loka, in our world also, a person who is a miser is someone who is not even able to bear loss of money. Actually, there is nothing like loss of money when you buy a thing, and if that is its value, buying it for that money is money used. That is the utility of it. It does not do that. Such a person is called as kripana, karpanya. Kripana iti loke prasiddhaha. Tad vidhatvad akhilaha anatmavid aprapta purusharthataya kripano bhavati. So also like that, a person who only keeps himself engaged, immersed only with anatma padarthas, with that what is not the self, then is called as kripana over here. Okay. Yo vai tadaksharam gargya viditva sma lokat praiti Sa Kripanaha iti Shrutehe. What does the Upanishad say? Who is a Kripana? Hey Gargi. So there was this great lady, Brahmavadini, her name is Gargi, and she's asking a question to Yajnavalkya. To her, he replied, Yo va etadaksharam Gargi, hey Gargi, he who dies without knowing that what is imperishable. Etad aksharam aviditva traiti, he who dies without knowing that what is aksharam. Ksharam means to that what degenerates, deteriorates, perishes is called as ksharam. And aksharam means that which is imperishable, indestructible. That what is indestructible. So he who dies without knowing the akshara. Hey Gargi, Sir Kripanaha, such a person is a miser. This is a real miser. It is Shruti. It is Shruti. Now let us see that, about this Guru Pasatya, approaching the teacher. Some more principles are there hidden in the shloka, which we will try to discover with the help of some Madhusudana's commentary. So we will meet next to see more of this particular shloka in our next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnahat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Avashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakritav Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.